welcome to the Quincy Access Television Studios. I'm Mark Crosby. Thank you for joining us for Update DPW, a seasonal look at your Department of Public Works. Today we are in studio, well, kind of, I am. John Sullivan will be joining us remotely via Zoom to talk about the fall season and the Department of Public Works, your Department of Public Works. John, welcome.
Thanks for having me after all the terror I've brought to your production.
Today or always?
Always and forever.
Thanks for doing this remotely. This is the way we do things nowadays. Not only us, as you have seen, certainly interviews on TV outside Quincy Access Television all seem to do the Zoom or some form of remote interviews. So thank you for being a part of this. I have I'm holding up, and I know you can't see this, but the folks at home can, the first page of the DPW newsletter. So let's talk about what's in the newsletter. Let's talk about how COVID-19, because there is a sizable portion of the newsletter that's devoted to that. Let's talk about how COVID-19, this pandemic, has affected the Department of Public Works.
It hasn't affected the Department of Public Works, but it has affected the supply chain to other manufacturers who aren't getting as much of the recycled material as they used to because of the effect that COVID has had on other small businesses. As far as the city of Quincy goes, it is affecting our contamination rate because we were climbing and now we seem to have plateaued since March. So it's very important that we continue to recycle so that we can help make up the gap in the availability of raw materials and, save from using fresh raw materials, which is a limited supply. And it's also important that we keep that supply as uncontaminated as possible.
So would you say that folks...
Why is the contamination rate gone up, did you say? Oh.
Sure, I'll say that.
Well, a lot of it has to do with people thinking that plastic gloves are recyclable. That's really big. They're not recyclable. Even if they're pristine clean, they're not recyclable. Nothing like rubber is recyclable except rubber tires. And masks, although a lot of it's made from paper, it's not the kind of paper that can be reconstituted. And if any of that material is contaminated, it could spread the virus and we could have a large cluster of people being sick with the COVID-19.
I know initially, and likely still so, folks weren't recycling, let's say, cans, bottles, glass at their local store because the store simply wasn't accepting it.
I can't speak for stores because, like, Stop and Shop has a machine that takes it all, so I don't know how much human, aside from the person putting it in, it's broken up and it's put into a large hopper, and then the hopper gets dumped into a bigger hopper, and that's how that's done. But as far as those stores that actually redeem bottles and cans, as far as the one that's not far from here on Broad Street, that's been closed since March.
So just for folks to, again, be aware of what is recyclable, we had kind of a shift in acceptance of materials prior to COVID-19. So there was a little bit of confusion already there, and I know you were trying to work through that, but then with the pandemic, there's the added confusion of, again, PPEs, which you basically said there are no PPEs that are recyclable. But if, again, you could go over what has been deemed recyclable for folks and just, I guess, a refresher course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or, you can refer to the video we did on on the Recycle Zone, which is a spoof on the Twilight Zone, and addresses the big change that recycling went through a year ago with the institution of the China sword, where things that you thought were recyclable, well, things that were recyclable for a long time are no longer recyclable, and things that were not are now recyclable. Pizza boxes are now recyclable, top and bottom. Shredded paper is no longer recyclable. Milk cartons or any kind of paper wax cartons are no longer recyclable. But the plastic milk jugs, they are recyclable. There's a whole list of it, and if you have something that you're not sure, just to hope that it's recyclable and throw it in is going to cost you, the taxpayer, money, because that means it is contaminated.
Let's, if we could, run that public service announcement that both you and I did, and folks will get a sense of, well, they'll be entertained as well as informed. And there's also a link to an address, rather, that folks can access. And I think that's the address you were looking for. So we will play that for folks now.
You unlock this door by simply recycling smarter. Beyond it is a better dimension, a dimension of clean waters, a dimension of clean air, a dimension of higher consciousness. You are moving into a land of sustainability. You've just crossed over into the recycle zone. Take, if you will, one Lady O'Grady. She thought she was a recycler extraordinaire. Not only did she rinse her containers, but her dog licked the peanut butter jar to a pristine sheen. Now, in an instant, change is the only constant. What happens when, through a cosmic shift in recycling, what was is no longer, and what wasn't is the new norm?
Mr. Recycle, I've got a pizza box which we used to have to take the cover off to recycle it. And this one's got a bunch of grease.
Oh, that's okay. I like grease on pizza boxes.
Just pizza boxes.
Just pizza boxes.
All right, here you go.
Okay.
Open up.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Oh, yum, yum, yum.
Bye now.
Bye, lady.
Hello, Mr. Recycle.
Well, hello, lady.
How are you today? I've got some plastic bottles for you.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Here you go. Open
Let
up.
me open up. No,
What?
it's got a plastic bag.
No plastic bags?
Lady, are you trying to kill me?
Oh, it was okay yesterday.
Not today. Why, thank you.
Here you go, my darling.
Oh, lady, you're so gentle.
All right, bye.
All right, bye, lady.
Every day it's something different. Good morning, Mr. Recycle.
Well, good morning, lady.
I've got some milk jugs for you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Oh, yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yummy.
I've got another one for you.
Oh, great.
Open up.
Okay. No, no.
What?
Those are not recyclable, lady.
They were yesterday.
Things change, lady. I'm sorry.
All right.
You too can be a recycler extraordinaire by visiting recyclesmartma.org for all your recycling questions.
Okay, you had mentioned, so hopefully that clarified things for folks. You had mentioned tires, and those are recyclable. Talk about that if you live in the city of Quincy.
Tires are the perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes, and henceforth the mosquitoes could have that triple E, Eastern equine encephalitis, and then there's a whole host of other diseases. So The DEP will come to your house and take up to 8 tires at the curb. However, the tires have to be off rim. And all you have to do, call, I know it's around here somewhere, 781-762-3681. That's also in the fall-winter guide of the DPW newsletter. And DEP is providing a way to do that, and it's very easy. Just call them up, and they will let you know when they're coming, because they like to do, like, you know, half a dozen to a dozen stops in a certain area like Quincy, etc. And that's all you have to do, 781-762-3681.
Continuing on in the newsletter, Household Hazardous Waste Drop-Off Day. That happens twice a year. The fall date has been set. Talk about that.
So this year it is October 3rd, which is the first Saturday in October, and that's what we always try to go for. It's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and people do get here early, so they start getting here about 7. They'd rather wait an hour to get through the line in 15 minutes. However, if you come anytime, it takes about a half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, to get all the way through. So either way, you're going to have to, you know, get in line. So bring a book. There are COVID-19 rules. Don't exit the vehicle. You'll be asked to leave, actually, by Clean Harbors. They will accept hazardous waste from pickup truck beds, trunks, and from the back of SUVs. Nothing will be accepted from the cab, and nothing can be handed to the attendant. And Clean Harbors cannot return any containers. Now, the other rules apply. You know, you want to sort and pack items separately in sturdy, upright boxes. You want to keep the explosive stuff away from the, what's that word? Stuff that'll burn through other materials.
Combustible?
You never mix chemicals. We all saw what happened to myself on another commercial where I tried to consolidate my packing. Don't smoke while you're handling hazardous material, and don't bring the children in the car. Keep them tied on the roof if that's possible. And for a complete list of materials accepted and unaccepted, visit the DPW homepage at www.quincyma.gov. I keep twisting my head out because I'm sitting at the window in my office and I don't want to miss any funny things.
Did you tell folks to tie their children to the roof? Is that what you said?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought it was, yeah. I just
So leave the children at home.
Leave your children at home. Don't take them with
Right. New and improved street sweeping. How is it improved?
you. We're just going to try to do better.
Put an extra sweeper on the truck?
Yeah, we're going to hit each ward twice in a 6-week period. So it will be wards 1 and 2 would be the week of October 26th, and then again the week of November 16th. Wards 3 and 4 would be the week of November 2nd and the week of November 23rd. And then wards 5 and 6 will be the week of November 9th and the week of November 30th. So once you've determined when your street sweeping is, please help us by keeping your cars, your horses, buggies, everything off the sidewalk, off the street, and in your driveway. And this really helps. Not only does it help to keep Quincy as clean as we are proud of saying it is, it also removes a lot of unwanted chemicals, sand, etc. from our um, flood system. The
Storm
those
drains.
little storm drains. Those little sores with the square holes in them, because everything that goes down there, including the runoff from your lawn and those chemicals and all the oil and gasoline, that along with all the water to combat flooding, ends up in the ocean, not far offshore. We actually have one on our beach in Norton Road. So when the water's real warm, you know something's up. We don't go swimming after a heavy rain.
Right, right. And I think some of the storm drains, if not all, have images painted on them of fish, maybe the ones closest to the beach.
Yeah, we've tried to mark every single one of them with a little circular advertising, and it's got a picture of a fish, and it reminds people, you know, don't change your oil over the storm drain and things like that. Extra gasoline. I think it was acceptable back in the 60s by some people who weren't as enlightened as we are. But now that you know, there's no excuse.
That's right. Well, we can all learn. Let's talk about yard
Okay.
waste. The yard waste schedule is, well, it's every other week up until, I believe, the second week in November. Then it goes to every week, correct?
Correct. It's actually the third week in November. It goes every week through the first week in December. So it continues every other week through September and October, and then most of November and the first week in December is every week. So that's very easy to understand. And then, of course, 2 weeks after Christmas, it feels funny talking about Christmas. It's about 90 degrees out today, and it's just the beginning of September. But so the 2 weeks after the New Year are for Christmas trees.
Right, right. We'll talk about that, I think, at a later date. But before we leave yard waste completely, let's go over, it is on screen for folks, what is considered acceptable yard waste.
Acceptable yard waste is all the grass and clippings and twigs and branches, trimmings. Branches should be cut somewhere between 3, no more than 4 feet long. They have to be less than 2.5 inches thick, and they should be bundled and tied as much as possible. If you have a branch and that fell off one of your trees, you could bring it to the DPW. You could bring a tree to the DPW as long as you have a driver's license with the Quincy address.
I need you to back up just a little bit. You're a bit too close for me and my liking. Talk about, and you're not listening because you're not backing up. Yeah, okay. Back up just a little bit from the camera.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you. There you go, not
Oh,
too
I
far.
thought you meant.
Don't go
I
away.
thought you meant my brain. Back up my brain.
No, we talked about COVID-19, and I asked how it affected the DPW, and you said, well, not that much. So I think folks will be quite aware that DPW projects have been going on throughout the pandemic.
You're talking about construction projects?
Right.
Yes, there was absolutely, it was full steam ahead, if I may quote City Hall, with all our projects. So
Didn't miss a beat.
no, we didn't. The seawall is under construction. There was no stoppage there. In September, sewer work continued on 40 streets and resurfacing and sidewalks on 32 streets and water mains on 22 streets. So, yeah, there has been no stopping that. And as far as recycling goes, I was referring more to the tonnage is steady, but we have to be careful always about contamination.
And just revisiting that for just a second, folks may think, well, that's just one container that's contaminated, not a big deal, I'll toss it in. Everything else I toss in the bin is clean. But that one item can be a problem.
Well, it can be if it's infected, if it's a PPE and it's got the virus on it. And it's also a problem, if a large percentage of people think the same way. It's going to affect you, the taxpayer, if you're not careful. It can be very, we can pay as much as $500,000 a year in contamination fines, which is exorbitant.
And that money, of course, we would rather direct to other areas, certainly areas that the city could benefit from.
Absolutely, like my salary. We could hire more teachers. We could hire police and fire. We could, work on streets, potholes, playgrounds, sports equipment, computers. I'd much rather see it spent there.
Let's talk about curbside collection and capital waste and items such as appliances and stoves, I suppose, computer monitors. Those can all be picked up curbside. A call does need to be made to capital waste, however.
Quincy's, a very acceptable place to live when it comes to what we accept at the sidewalk. You don't have to call for a sofa or a table or a chair or large items like mattresses and box springs. We throw them directly into the hopper. However, what you do have to call a special truck for is appliances, because they make money and they bring our bill down. And also computer monitors. Computer monitors have a lot of lead in the glass of the monitor. So those have to be handled. It's hazardous material. So it goes to a special place where it's all taken apart. All the rare, what they call rare earth particles are taken out. All, I can't even pronounce them, but there's gold and silver in them. And of course the lead in the computer monitor has to be disposed of properly.
Talk about the yard and the hours of the yard. Folks can bring materials down to the yard waste, and I assume some recyclable material can also go down there as well?
Yes, the rear yard at the DPW is open year-round, Monday through Friday, from 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the rear yard accepts yard waste. It accepts all electronics. It accepts books and DVDs. We accept scrap iron, recycling, meaning paper, plastic, and metal. We also, it's open on Saturdays from mid-spring, I'd say late March, to the first Saturday in December, and then it's not open on Saturdays anymore. And by the way, it closes a half an hour early, so it's 7:30 to 2:30. And all you need is a driver's license with a Quincy address. And if you don't have a driver's license with the Quincy address, give me a call at 617-376-1953, and I'll see what I can do to get you through the front door. If you do live here, if you're a new resident, there's a lot of new residents in Quincy. Or if you have a truck with a commercial license plate, there will be a problem. So give me a call and we'll figure out whether you're eligible.
Well, we're talking about ways to contact you. What about email? You have an email address as well?
Yes, it's recyclequincy@quincyma.gov. Best way to get me.
Very good. So
Yeah,
we'll
if
take
you
that.
need stickers for your recycle bin or for, this was what it was like in school. Even when I was talking to the teacher, I'd be looking out the window all the time.
So what exactly is out the window?
Well, there's a door to get in the office, and there's a lot of cars going in and out. There's a lovely flag waving, and people.
I just wanted to know what was distracting you. It doesn't
doesn't
sound
take
like anything.
Doesn't take much. Shiny objects attract me.
Yes. I hate to bring up this next topic, but it is a possibility late fall. We could get some snow. If we do, let's go over the winter parking rules for 2020 into 2021.
So if we start getting snow today, just move, all right? This is crazy.
I think that's impossible. It's probably in the 80s out there.
I know, but you never know. Come on, we've seen snow in May.
True.
Yes, all right. So this year, because winter actually will start in December, and since December will still be an even numbered year, it's acceptable in a snow emergency to park on the even numbered side of a side street. Does that make sense? There's no parking on emergency arteries, and they're very well signed, shall I say. But you can, if you have to park on the street, we urge you not to. But if you have to park on the street, park on the even side of side streets, smaller streets.
As we close, I do want to give out some numbers again, some important numbers we will end with. And those will just be on screen. You really don't need to recite those. But I do want to go over the basic information number, the main number for the office. Once again, your line and your email. Can you handle that?
My number is 617-376. So here come the engineers. 376-1953 or recycle Quincy at quincyma.gov. And if you want to keep up with everything that's going on in Quincy, we have a thing called MyQ at the city's website. And through that, you will receive alerts directly to your email that will advise you on snow emergencies and the such. And I think you can manipulate it to also be advised about community meetings, etc., or events, special events. And that's all. I think you go to MyQ and just sign up for alerts.
Thank you for joining me and certainly getting the information out to the folks at home. In closing, anything I haven't mentioned that you would like to mention?
That's about it. I can look straight ahead, but I'm repulsed by my receding hairline.
You can't even see me.
No, my receding hairline.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate it. Thanks for the update. Stay well. Certainly stay safe. And we will hope to see you again in the future. Actually, as we close, just give out the date for the Household Hazardous Waste Drop-Off Day once again for folks. And mention, of course, and maybe you mentioned it the first time, but proof of residency is needed.
Oh, yeah, you have to have your driver's license to prove residency in Quincy. This is not open to any other city. And it's Saturday, October 3rd, 2020, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it closes abruptly at 12 p.m. What they do is the DPW truck will go to the last person in line, and nobody else can follow in after that truck. So you want to be in line by 12 o'clock noon.
And will there be a shredder there, or will there be a truck that will take paper?
That's right. We're going to have a shredder there from our pal Tom McGinnis.
We will close with important phone numbers from the Department of Public Works. Please stay safe.